alginate fiber. Alginate is the term used for the salts of alginic acid. So what the alginate contains? Alginate contains the salts of alginic acid. It can refer to all the derivatives of alginic acid and alginic acid itself. So this alginate name is derived from all the derivatives of alginic acid or alginic acid itself. So where you can find this type of alginate polymer? Alginate polymer is present in cell walls of brown algae as calcium alginate, magnesium alginate, sodium alginate or sodium salts of alginic acids. So where this alginate polymer is obtained or where this alginate polymer is available, this alginate polymer is present in cell walls of brown algae. What is the form? In the form of calcium salts of alginic acid or magnesium salts of alginic acid or sodium salts of alginic acid. So alginate contains either calcium salts of alginic acid or magnesium salts of alginic acid or sodium salts of alginic acid. It depends upon the algae nature. So it is a natural polymer. Alginate is a natural polymer composed of two monomers. So in order to produce a polymer, so I think you might be studied a terminology called polymer. Polymer means a combination of two or more monomers are called as polymer. But here the alginate polymer is composed of two monomers. What are all the two monomers? One is gluconoric acid. The second one is mannumeric acid. So there are two monomers are available in the alginate polymer. The one is gluconoric acid. Second one is mannumeric acid. So these are all the two monomers for the production of alginate. Then how to extract the alginate from the brown algae? I told the alginate is available or the alginate is present in brown algae. Then how to extract the alginate from brown algae? There is an extraction process. Please look at the slide. The seaweed is broken into pieces and stirred with sodium carbonate for about 2 hours. So what will happen while treating with sodium carbonate? This alginate dissolves as a sodium alginate to give very thick slurry. So finally you will get a viscous, highly viscous solution. So first you have to collect the seaweed from the sea shore. Then the seaweed has to be broken into very small pieces and you have to treat it with sodium carbonate for about 2 hours at room temperature. So what will happen? The sodium alginate will start dissolving in your sodium carbonate. So finally you will get a thick slurry liquid, that is highly viscous solution. So please look at the figure. This is the chemical structure of your gluconoric acid and mannumeric acid. See, this is the mannumeric acid chemical structure. This is the your gluconoric acid chemical structure. So see, only the COOH group, the position of the COOH group has been changed. So if you look at here, this is at the D position. Here at the L position. So in gluconoric acid, this COOH group is present in L position, whereas in mannumeric acid, the COOH is present in D position. I think ortho position, para position, meta position, like that here also D position and L position. This is the chemical structure of your monomers present in your alginate polymer. Then now let us discuss the production of alginate fiber. See, the aqueous solution of sodium alginate are extruded through fine holes into a coagulation bath, usually containing calcium chloride. So here you have to use wet spinning technology for the production of alginate fiber. Whether it may be a sodium alginate, calcium alginate, zinc alginate, or copper alginate, whatever may be the alginate fiber is to be produced under wet spinning technology. Okay, similar to your viscose filament manufacturing. So how the viscose fiber is manufactured? The viscose fiber is manufactured under wet spinning technology. Here also we are using the wet spinning technology for the production of alginate fibers. So a highly viscous solution is obtained by dissolving the alginate in a sodium carbonate solution, sodium carbonate chemicals, and the highly viscous solution is extruded through the fine holes into a coagulation bath. So once I am telling the wet spinning technology, just you have to recall the wet spinning technology. Okay, so wet spinning technology means it consists of coagulation bath. So in coagulation bath, what it contains? It contains calcium chloride. Whereas your viscose fiber, coagulation bath contains sulfuric acid, zinc sulfate, the other chemicals. But here your coagulation bath contains calcium chloride. So once the fiber comes in contact with the calcium ions, what will happen? The sodium alginate exchanges ions with calcium ions. So what will happen? See, first initially you are taking sodium alginate, you are dissolving with your sodium carbonate solution. The solution contains only the sodium alginate. Your sodium ion is present. So whenever it comes in contact with the calcium chloride, where the calcium chloride is present? The calcium chloride is present in coagulation bath. So once it comes in contact with the calcium ion, what will happen? There is an ion exchange takes place. Ion exchange takes place. Here the sodium alginate exchanges ions with calcium ions. So what will happen? The sodium alginate becomes calcium alginate. At the end of the fiber production, what will happen? The sodium alginate exchanges ions with the calcium ions. So what will happen? Ultimately, the fiber contains calcium ion. So the fiber is called calcium alginate fiber. So the calcium ion, what is the nature of your calcium ion? The calcium ion is a divalent metal ion capable of forming water insoluble substance. So your calcium alginate is not soluble in water. So why this calcium alginate is not soluble in water? Because the calcium ion is a divalent metal ion. So which is capable of forming water insoluble substance. But if you take sodium alginate, the sodium alginate is readily soluble in water. But your calcium alginate polymer, it is not readily soluble in water. It is insoluble in water. So please make a note of this difference. So what is the difference between a sodium alginate polymer and a calcium alginate polymer? Sodium alginate polymer is readily soluble in water, whereas your calcium alginate is not soluble in water. It is insoluble in water. The reason is calcium ion is a divalent metal ion, which is capable of forming water insoluble substance. Okay, so best example is our day-to-day life we are using salt, no? in the while cooking food and all. So what type of salt we are using? Sodium salt, sodium chloride. So sodium chloride is readily soluble in water. But if you take our see, there are some cement type of materials they are using for our walls for painting purpose. In order to make your walls white and all, what they are using? Some powder form of white color. So it contains calcium. So once it starts dissolving in water, it becomes a calcium bicarbonate. So when it is pasted on your wall, what it becomes? It becomes a calcium bicarbonate. So calcium won't dissolve in water. So that is the reason why whenever the rainfall is coming and falls on your walls, the white color, the white paint will not come out from your walls. Okay, so this is the right example. Then alginate precipitates in the form of swollen gel. So what will happen? The alginate polymer, it forms gels. So please make a note of it, because this swollen characteristics is very much useful for your medical purpose, that is medical textiles. Alginate polymer swells and it forms a gel-like structure. Because of the formation of gel-like structure, it is used in bandages. So I will discuss elaborately in the forthcoming slides. Then after making the alginate, then further stretching, washing and drying. So finally your calcium alginate fiber is made. So this is how your calcium alginate polymer or calcium alginate fiber has to be produced. How this polymer is produced, or how the filament is produced? By means of wet spinning technology. So once wet spinning technology means, so you have to recall, it consists of coagulation bath. So coagulation bath may contain so many chemicals. It depends upon the type of filament you are going to produce. So the advantages of your alginate polymer. What are all the advantages? They are relatively easy to modify by incorporating appropriate metal ions. So what we discussed? We have discussed the calcium alginate filament formation. Suppose if I want to produce zinc alginate, what I am going to do? So the coagulation bath have to contain zinc chloride. Instead of calcium chloride, your coagulation bath contains zinc chloride. Ultimately the fiber which is produced out of the wet spinning is your zinc alginate fiber. Suppose I want to produce copper alginate fiber. What I have to do? In the coagulation bath, I have to keep copper chloride solution. So once the fiber or once the polymer comes in contact with the copper chloride solution, so there is an ion exchange takes place between sodium and copper. So the fiber ultimately what you are getting? It is a copper alginate polymer. Okay, so that is the reason why I am telling they are relatively easy to modify. So you can easily modify the fibers by incorporating appropriate metal ions. Just you are replacing the coagulation solution. Okay, either you can keep zinc chloride or you can keep copper chloride, then you will get the respective filament. So the replacement of sodium ions with zinc ion or copper ions during the solidification stage, so you will get zinc alginate polymer or zinc alginate filament, or you can get copper alginate polymer or filament. Okay, so the replacement is very easy. So please think it over, the entire properties, the zinc alginate, the copper alginate, or the calcium alginate, or the sodium alginate. So these are all metals: zinc, copper, okay, sodium, calcium, these are all metals. So if you look at the properties are different. Okay. So, or you can get copper alginate fiber with suitable properties for medical applications. So this fiber is used in medical textiles. See, if you look at the zinc alginate fiber, it accelerates the wound healing property. See, whenever you come across any sort of wound, there are so many types of wounds are available: burn wounds, injury wounds, then ulcer wound. So many types of wounds are there, chronic wounds. So what will happen if this alginate, zinc alginate fiber is used? What will happen? Your wound will be healed within a short period of time. So it will accelerate the healing of wound. It will accelerate the healing of wound. So that is the reason why you have to use zinc alginate. Even you can use copper alginate also. You study the wound healing nature of the copper alginate fiber. Similarly, you can also try out of calcium alginate. Similarly, sodium alginate. How the wound healing property, how the fiber is accelerating the wound healing nature of your types of wounds. Okay, so this polymer or this fiber is having not only it accelerates the wound healing effect, and it have high moisture absorption property. This zinc alginate is having high moisture absorption property, and it has good antibacterial characteristics. It has good antibacterial characteristics. So these properties make the alginate fibers used in wound healing applications. Okay, so all these properties of the fiber. The first one is this fiber accelerating the wound healing process. The second one is this fiber absorbs high moisture absorption. The third one is this fiber is having antibacterial activity. So because of these three properties, make the alginate fiber to be used in wound healing dressings or wound healing bandages. So you can produce bandages out of this fiber. So you can apply it on the wound. It will heal the wound within a short period of time. So coming to the preparation part or the production of alginate polymer or alginate fiber. See, 7% aqueous spinning solution of sodium alginate were used. Then 0.1 molarity solution of sodium chloride at a temperature of 25 degrees Celsius. So wet spinning technology has to be adopted for the production of this alginate polymer, alginate filament. So wet spinning process using a spinnerette with 500 orifice, 500 holes. 500 orifice in the sense 500 holes. Each holes is having 0.08 mm in diameter. Please look at or please make a note of it. The diameter of the hole, spinnerette hole, 0.08 mm in diameter. So the solidification of zinc alginate fiber, the bath contains 3% of zinc chloride. Suppose if I want to produce zinc alginate polymer or zinc alginate fiber, what the coagulation bath contains? The coagulation bath should contains 3% of zinc chloride. Suppose I want to produce copper alginate. What your coagulation bath should contain? Your coagulation bath should contain copper chloride. That is 3% of copper chloride. Okay. And 0.3% of hydrochloric acid at a temperature of 22 degrees Celsius. Even you can produce calcium alginate polymer also. Just you have to keep calcium chloride in the coagulation bath. Then the fiber, after the fiber production, the fiber has to be stretched, or you can call it as the drawing process. So in a plasticizing bath containing 3% zinc chloride, or you can keep copper chloride at 70 degrees Celsius, then you have to you can produce either zinc alginate fiber, or you can produce copper alginate fiber. Similarly, calcium alginate polymer, calcium alginate fiber. I'm going to discuss about chitin and chitosan polymer. Okay, this is another natural polymer which is abundantly available in the nature. So please look at the slide. Chitin is the second most abundant natural polymer. Chitin is a white, hard, inelastic polysaccharides found in outer skeletons of insects, cell walls of some microorganisms such as fungi, molds, yeast, shells of crab, shrimp, and crayfish. So this chitin is found in all these type of insects and microorganisms. This chitin is found in outer skeleton of insects, then cell walls of some microorganisms such as fungi, molds, yeast, shells of crab, then shrimp and crayfish. If you look at the chemical structure, it is composed of 1,4 linked, then 2 acido amido, 2 deoxy beta D glucose. Okay, simply you can call it as N-acetyl glucosamine. Okay, then if you look at the chitosan polymer, the chitosan is a linear polymer which is derived from chitin only. So chitin is a natural polymer abundantly available in nature next to cellulose. Cellulose is the first most abundant natural polymer, whereas your chitin is the second most abundant natural polymer. So if you look at the chemical structure of the chitin, it is a N-acetoglucosamine. Please. This chitosan is derived from chitin only. Some chemical modification has to be carried out on this chitin fiber. Then you will get this chitosan fiber. Chitosan is a linear polymer. Please look at the chemical composition. Alpha 1,4 linked to amino 2 deoxy beta D glucopyranose. Here glucose is there. Here acetamido group is there. But instead of acetamido, here only amino group is there. So some acetyl group has been removed. Okay. So in chitin polymer, acetyl group is there. Whereas you are in chitosan polymer, there is no acetyl group. Okay. So in chitosan polymer, there is no acetyl group. Whereas your chitin polymer is having acetamido group. Here glucose group, here glucopyranose. So chitosan is the deacetylated form of chitin. What it means? You are removing acetyl group present in the chitin polymer. So you are removing a certain percentage of acetyl group present in chitin polymer. Ultimately what you are getting? You are getting this chitosan polymer. It is nothing but your deacetylated form of chitin. Deacetylated means acetyl groups are removed in chitin polymer. You are getting chitosan polymer. So that is you can call it as the degree of deacetylation. Degree of deacetylation means how much percentage of acetyl group has been removed from, that indicates the degree of deacetylation. Suppose you are removing 50% of the acetyl group present in chitin, then you can call it as 30% degree of deacetylation. Suppose you are removing 60% of acetyl group, 60% of acetyl group, then you can claim 60 degree of deacetylation. The degree of deacetylation is 60. Suppose you have removed 100% acetyl group. So the degree of deacetylation is 100. Okay. So depends upon the percentage of acetyl group removed, that you can call it as degree of deacetylation. So here 70% and 95%. It depends upon the applications. Okay, again the property will change. Please make a note of it. If you remove 60%, ultimately you are going to get chitosan polymer. There is no doubt. But if you remove 100%, again, ultimately you are going to get chitosan polymer. But there is a difference in property. 60% acetylated group of chitosan polymer is having some different properties. 100% deacetylated chitosan polymer is having some different properties. So that is why I am telling the degree of deacetylation is playing a major role. Okay. So please look at the slide. This is the chemical structure of your cellulose. This is the chemical structure of your chitin polymer. Then this is the chemical structure of your chitosan. Please look at this figure and please make a difference. What is the difference? Chitin is chemically identical to cellulose. So just if you look at the figures, all three chemical structures are identical. Identical in the sense same. But except the secondary hydroxyl groups on the alpha carbon atom. Secondary hydroxyl group means where? Here. See, this is the secondary hydroxyl group in cellulose. What is the changes takes place in chitin? Some changes takes place in chitin. In the secondary hydroxyl group on the alpha carbon atom of cellulose. Okay, here amino acetyl group is there. Please look at the figure. Instead of hydroxyl group, what group is present in your chitin? Amino acetyl group. Then what is the group present in secondary hydroxyl group in case of chitosan? Amide group, that is NH2. Apart from the secondary hydroxyl group, the all other chemical groups are identical to cellulose. See, please look at the figure. It is identical. Identical in the sense same, similar to your cellulose. But only the replacement is in the hydroxyl group, secondary hydroxyl group. In the case of chitin polymer, your amino acetyl group is present. This is your amino acetyl group. Whereas your chitosan, amide group is there. So you are removing the acetyl group in the process of degree of deacetylation. So ultimately it have only amide group, that is NH2. So just a replacement of one hydroxyl group in cellulose. Please look at the properties. Please look at the property. Chitosan is insoluble in water and is soluble in acetic acid or acetic solvents, that is below pH 6. So you have to use some acids. for the dissolution of your chitosan polymer. So organic acids such as formic acid, lactic acids are used for dissolving of chitosan polymer or chitosan filament. Okay, so what type of solvent you have to use? Organic acids such as formic acid, lactic acids are used for dissolution of chitosan. So most commonly used 1% acetic acid. So 1% acetic acid is used commonly for the dissolution of chitosan. Okay, so 1% acetic acid is used commonly for dissolution of chitosan polymer. Okay, so chitosan is soluble even in 1% hydrochloric acid. And please make a note of it here. Chitosan is soluble in 1% hydrochloric acid, but insoluble in sulfuric acid and phosphoric acid. This is this peculiar property of your chitosan. This chitosan polymer is soluble in hydrochloric acid, but insoluble in sulfuric acid and phosphoric acid. This is the peculiar property which the chitosan polymer is having. If you look at the molecular weight of the chitin is more than 1 million. So please make a note of it. This is a heavy molecular weight polymer. So the molecular weight of the chitin polymer is more than 1 million. If you look at our polyester is having only 18,000. The molecular weight of your polyester is only 18,000 or 30,000, not more than 1 lakh. But if you look at the chitin polymer, the molecular weight is more than 1 million. But if you look at the molecular weight of chitosan, again it is 1 million to 1 million 20, I think 10 lakhs, that is 12 lakhs, 10 lakhs to 12 lakhs. So molecular weight of your chitosan is 10 lakhs to 12 lakhs. So as soon as the molecular weight increases, your dissolution is very, very difficult. Okay, so you have to spend little bit more duration for the dissolution purpose. Even it may took 12 hours or 48 hours or even 72 hours for the dissolution of polymer. So as soon as your molecular weight increases, your dissolution is also becoming very, very difficult. So these are all interrelated properties. Coming to please look at this flow chart. Chitin and chitosan manufacturing process. So this is scrutinous cell. So you have to remove the minerals present in the shell. Then you have to remove the protein present in the cells. That is called deproteinization process. Then you have to remove the minerals present in the cell. That process is called demineralization. So finally you are getting chitin. So once the polymer chitin is obtained, so you are removing the acetyl group present in the chitin. That is process called deacetylation. You are removing the acetyl group present in the chitin polymer. So what the polymer you are getting? Chitosan polymer. Okay. Similarly, you can take quid bone. So you have to remove the protein present in the quid bone. That process is called deproteinization. You are getting chitin polymer. Then you are removing the acetyl group present in the chitin. You are getting chitosan polymer. So these are all some of the derivatives of your chitin. Okay. So chitosan, sodium salts. It is soluble in water to some extent, soluble with pH less than 6. So I told you This chitosan polymer is having amide group, that is NH2. Okay, in the secondary hydroxyl group. So please recall from the previous slides. So chitosan is having NH2, that is amide group in the secondary hydroxyl group of on the cellulose chemical structure. It becomes quaternary ammonia group. So allows the chitosan to inhibit the growth of many bacteria. So why this chitosan polymer inhibits the growth of many bacteria? Because of the presence of amide group. So it will kills the bacteria. Why it kills the bacteria? Because of the presence of amide group. It becomes a quaternary ammonia group. So if you take bacteria including both gram positive and gram negative bacteria. So it will kill both the bacteria. Either it may be gram negative or gram positive. So scientists are proposing two mechanisms how it kills the bacteria. There are two mechanisms are proposed by the scientist. One is polycationic nature of the chitosan interface with the bacterial metabolism by stacking at the cell surface. This is the one mechanism they are claiming that this chitosan polymer it kills the bacteria. So ultimately you are getting the antibacterial activity. The second mechanism what they are proposing, this chitosan polymer binding with the DNA and inhibit the RNA synthesis. So this chitosan polymer binding with your DNA present in the bacteria and inhibit the RNA synthesis. So these are all very important for the survival of bacteria. So once it will inhibit the RNA synthesis, what will happen? The bacteria it will die. Okay, so these are all the two mechanisms proposed by the scientist, and they are claiming that this chitosan polymer is having good antibacterial activity. It kills many bacteria, both gram positive and gram negative bacteria. So that is the reason why this chitosan polymer is used in medical textiles, especially in healthcare and hygiene textiles. Okay. The first one is polycationic nature. The second one is it will bind with DNA and inhibit the RNA synthesis. So these are all the two mechanisms proposed by the scientist and claiming that chitosan is having antibacterial activity. So please look at these are all the raw materials. Okay, the squid, then shrimp, crab. So you have to, the first one is decalcification. So you are removing the minerals or the impurities present in your in this type of actually the waste has been collected, the shellfish waste from food processing industry. So you are making the polymer out of the waste, shellfish waste from wood processing industries like your shrimp, crab, squid and all. So after the collection of waste from the food industry, then you are removing the impurities present in the waste. Then you are removing the protein present in the waste. Then you are removing the color. So finally you are getting chitin polymer. So once the chitin polymer is getting, then you are removing the acetyl group present in the chitin. You are getting the chitosan polymer. So this is the step-by-step procedure involved in the production of chitin and chitosan polymer. So these are all the biological properties of chitin and chitosan. So it is a non-toxicity, then biodegradability, biocompactability, cytocompactability, antimicrobial activity, antioxidant activity, anti-inflammatory action, then analgesic action, homeostatic action, then antinogenous stimulation, then macrophage activation, absorption enhancer. So these are some of the biological properties of your chitin and chitosan. So please look at the slide. This slide shows your physiochemical properties. So as soon as the solubility in the sense I told you in the beginning, the solubility again it depends upon the degree of deacylation. How much acetyl group has been removed. So your degree of deacylation decreases, your solubility will increases. So this upward direction, what it indicates? Directly proportional to property. Your downward arrows indicates it is inversely proportional. So your degree of deacylation decreases, your solubility is increases. So if you take the crystallinity, degree of deacylation increases, your crystallization also increases. So because it is directly proportional, the upward arrows, whatever, see wherever I am showing the upward arrow, it is directly related to the property. If it is this degree of acylation increases, your crystallization also increases. But here the degree of acylation is decreases, your solubility will increases. So the downward, wherever I am mentioning the downward arrow, what will be your property? It is inversely proportional to the property. See, the third one, viscosity. So your degree of deacylation decreases, your viscosity will increases. Then coming to the biodegradability. Your degree of deacylation increases, your biodegradability also increases. But here the biodegradability is not only this biodegradability is deciding by two factors. One is degree of deacylation, the second one is molecular weight. So if the molecular weight decreases, your biodegradability will increases because these two are inversely proportional. But here these two are directly proportional. Then what about biocompatibility? Your degree of deacylation decreases, your biocompatibility will increases. Biocompatibility means it will not create any sort of side effects when it is applied to inside the human body. It will adapt inside your human body. That is biocompatibility. So this is very much essential property when it is used as a medical textiles. Okay. Then coming to the other properties, antimicrobial property. So this property again it depends upon two factors. If your degree of deacylation decreases, your antimicrobial property will increase. Then your molecular weight increases, your antibacterial property also increases. So antioxidant, then hemostatic. Hemostatic means if the blood is come out, it will stop. It will stop the blood immediately. So it will clot the blood. So whenever a person has met with an heavy injury, some huge blood is coming out means when you apply this chitosan polymer, this polymer will stop the blood immediately by means of clotting the blood. How it stop the blood? It will the blood will clot immediately. So it is having anti-tumor activity. Okay, so this polymer is having good anti-tumor activity. So again, it depends on the molecular weight. So the molecular weight decreases, your anti-tumor will increases. So these are all the applications of your chitosan polymer. So chitosan polymer you can in the form of gel, or you can place it in a hydrogel. It is used in drug releasing characteristics. Then film and membranes, again it can be used as a drug releasing characteristics. Then you can use it as an emulsion. Then it can be used as a targeted cancer therapy. So please look at this slide. It is this chitosan polymer is used in targeted cancer therapy. Then coming to the medicine and biomedicine applications. It is used in wound dressings, wound treatment. Then it is used in the manufacturing of bandages. So you can produce bandage out of the chitosan polymer. Sutures, surgical implants. Okay. Then coming to the tissue engineering, this chitosan polymer you can produce scaffolds. Then artificial skins. Even you can produce artificial skins from the chitosan polymer. Then coming to the other applications, it can be used in agriculture, food industry, textile industry, wastewater treatment industry. Even nowadays, this chitosan polymer is used in wastewater treatment. Okay.